I for the life of me, I don't know where they went. Um, I think I think they said, you know what? They said this to themselves. You know, this relationship was good, but it's just not working out anymore. And and they skipped out. All right, I'm talking about my yellow my yellow sunglasses. I don't know where they are. They've disappeared. But all right, folks. You know, it's been a while, and let me just say, this. I'm Whitney Howland, aka Couch Guy, and you're listening to another episode of Comedy from the Couch. And you know, it may not look like it, but from the waist down, well, it's because you can't see it, but from the waist down, uh, I'm wearing nothing but some tartan boxer shorts. Uh, so yeah, but we're going to talk about Tony Law. That's right. We're kicking back to some cosmic space jazz, and we're talking about Tony Law. And Tony Law is one of those surrealist comedians, and I draw inspiration from him. He's a searcher. He's a searcher. He's searching for something. I don't know what he's searching for, but he's searching. But the thing I like about Tony Law is that he takes you on a kind of a verbal journey. And I like to use verbal journey as opposed to just a word salad that he tosses. I think that's cliche, and I don't think that's a fair description of Tony Law's art. But he takes you on a verbal journey, and it's a meandering one. And while he's doing that, he stacks punchlines like wobbly teacups. So, I don't know. I'll give you an example of a Tony Law bit. You know, I've had a lot of interesting jobs, and I've applied for many more. One time I applied to work on a tugboat. I didn't get the job, but I got a free voucher for a bowl of clam chowder and a firmly worded note from the tugboat captain to respect boundaries. You know, something like that. But, you know, what else is there to say about Tony Law? I don't know, I guess I was I checked into a hotel. I've been traveling a lot for my comedy, and I was doing a gig in Nashville, and I checked into a hotel, and at the counter, the clerk asked me if I wanted a wake-up call. And I said no thanks, because I've had too many of those in life already. I don't know, he does it better than I do. He's definitely has a different style. And but that should give you an example of what kind of humor that Tony Law does. I don't know. I think his logic is a little more dreamy than mine. If you had to nail down my thought process, it's a lot like Silly String. You know, actually maybe that's Tony's. He maybe just sprays Silly String all over the wall. It's almost like a verbal Jackson Pollock painting that he creates. You know, if he were to nail down my my verbal art, It'd just be something that maybe I would paint, but then just erase. I don't know. Well, this is getting kind of weird. And you know, I think I'll leave you with this. My comedy, I think, goes down a lot better with not one but two alcoholic beverages. But I must say, they really love me up in Wisconsin. That's because I guess anything having to do with cheese goes over real well in Wisconsin. So, well, I'm just going to bump us out to some cosmic jazz and say until next time.